the break with a no-look overhead pass to Beal, who finds Wall for the lay-in. Paul, are the Wizards actually having fun right now?
They can win more games if they share the ball and have fun.
Yeah, it's always fun.
They got the talent.
It's always fun when you play the Knicks.
Sorry, Cousin Poofy. That's the reality of life. All right, welcome to The Jump. I'm George Sedano, filling in for our fearless leader, Rachel Nichols, who's traveling to Toronto for our all-access day with the Raptors tomorrow right here on The Jump. Coming up, though, we got CP3 saying that despite the Rockets' struggles, he doesn't think that there's any team that could beat the Rockets in a 7-game series.
Okay.
Do we share his confidence? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But first, our League Pass game of the night from yesterday did not disappoint. The Nuggets went up to Toronto and took down the Raptors, who still own the league's best record. Nikola Jokic had a triple-double, and they lost Gary Harris in the first quarter due to hip soreness. So, Paul Pierce, the truth is in the house. Amin's in the house. Paul, is Denver officially the second-best team in the West?
Absolutely. I got them going to the conference finals this year. And they're not even playing their best ball. You got to understand, they're going to get Willie Barton back. They're going to get IT if he can give them something this year. So they're a deep team. And the way Joker is playing, he's playing at an MVP level. I think they are.
Yeah, and you could throw in maybe Michael Porter Jr. too, because
Though I'd redshirt him if I could.
I'd redshirt him too, but if he's healthy and he's ready to go, I mean, he brings a different dynamic. They are so far the second-best team in the West, and maybe even playing as the second-best team in the league over the first quarter of the season, and a lot of that. And it's now 25 games in, and they're doing it on the step forward that he has. When your best player is but he's not afraid to share, and he'll find guys, and that's what makes him real special.
Well, you know what's happening, too, with Jamal Murray that no one's really talking about? He's shooting 30% on uncontested three-point shots. This is a dude who's a three-point shooter, so we've heard about regression to the mean. He can ascend to the mean and make them even better on offense.
That aggression to the mean? What's the opposite of regression?
Ascension to the mean? And fulfills his potential. I think they can be for a championship if he's that wing player that people think that he can.
And the teams that are sagging towards the bottom right now, and the bottom is basically, as we said, the 14th seed is a game under 500, right? You're talking about the teams that had injury issues: San Antonio, New Orleans, Houston. Sprain or sprain.
I was just going to say, you're injury away from moving up or moving down.
Moving down, exactly. So don't feel comfortable, Denver, but you're number 2 right now.
Yeah, by the way, on ESPN.com, they actually have a story up today that talks about who the best team, the second-best team in the West.
Golden State when they're healthy.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're not healthy anymore.
But speaking of not being healthy, the Rockets, they haven't been healthy, and they only scored 9 points in the fourth quarter last night in a loss to the Wolves on the road. Houston's 2-5 over its last 7 games. Afterwards, Chris Paul remained confident, though, in the Rockets' talent. He said, quote, "I'm still not that concerned, to tell you the truth. Somebody's got to beat us 4 out of 7 times. I don't see that happening." Paul, do you share CP3's confidence in the Rockets?
I'm not so sure this year because, I mean, they don't carry that same swagger last year. You just knew the Rockets a three-pointer after, and then they lose their defense. They lose their depth. Or CP again, they can easily not make the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen so far. So they're, what, 9-5, 10-5 when both those guys play. And when one of them doesn't, they're terrible. And we know CP, as he gets older, man, injury issues are going to be a concern more and more for him. So there is a question mark there. But even if they're healthy, like Paul said, this team is not last year's team.
No.
The full-strength Rockets are still not as good as they were a year ago. And so I don't know how you could be that confident to say any team, because, when you say any team, you're including
the Warriors. Right, yeah. I mean, look, I take the Warriors out of this equation, at least for this particular conversation.
For every conversation.
Right, for sure. But if you look at them in a series, chances are they've got two of the best 3 or 4 players on the floor in any given series. So based on that, even with the lack of depth that they have, and we'll get to that in a second, because Daryl Morey said some words about that recently, I still think that if you look at the rest of the West, like I'd probably favor them in a series against anyone not named the Warriors.
Would you favor them against the Lakers?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I probably would. I probably would still favor them against the Lakers, even by a small amount.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You just think Bron is that good? Because
you'll favor them versus Denver this year?
Yeah, you know why? Because I haven't seen them do it in the playoffs yet. Right. And here's the thing. Well, no, but it's true. It's true. I haven't seen them do anything yet. Like Paul Millsap's been in the playoffs. The rest of those guys. Yeah, and with the Lakers, kind of the same thing. I've seen Bron in the playoffs for the most part of the guys who are going to play heavy minutes. But those young kids, their RPM numbers came out on ESPN. We talked about it on radio yesterday. They haven't been pretty. So I don't know what those young guys are going to look like in the playoffs. So against the Rockets, I'll take their experience. All right, Daryl Morey, as I mentioned, spoke to Tom Haberstroh on his podcast about the Rockets' recent struggles. Here's his quote: "Slam me. I deserve to be slammed."
Okay.
Simple as that. So, Amin, does Morey deserve the bulk of the blame?
Look, here's the thing. Behind every kind of head-scratching summer that your team had, I guarantee you there's an ownership component that's involved there. But without any solid
You're saying like financials?
Whatever it is. Ownership has a say. Whenever you think, wait, why would they do that? Doesn't make any sense. It's particularly if it's someone who you know, he ain't no dummy, right? Like Daryl Morey, you may not think he's the best GM or whatever, but you know he's not a fool to like look at his team from last year and say, yeah, we don't need any of these guys. But without any solid facts that I want to talk about with ownership, then yes, he deserves to be slammed because he let guys go. Look, here's the deal. When you have a championship window, you got to go full throttle. You can't penny pinch. You can't try to find a deal or whatever. You got to go whatever it takes to go to achieve that window because you don't know when it closes, when it'll open up for you again.
Absolutely. You know, this reminds me of the year after we won championship. We lost James Posey. We didn't re-sign him back. That was huge for us. You know, he was a key, and that's what I see with the Houston Rockets, and that was our win. That with the Rockets not bringing back Mba and Ariza.
Ariza particularly reminds me a lot of Posey, really, a guy who could defend
Those are
on the perimeter.
glue guys. These are guys you need on your team, and they lost 2 of them.
And it wasn't just the glue guy part of it, is that having multiple of those, because you can say, oh, we still got P.J. Tucker, but having 3 of those dudes gives you an immense amount of depth and switchability and flexibility with your lineups so that you always got one of those dudes on the floor. Now, it's really thin, and you say, we're going to replace it with guys like James Ennis, who nice young player, but really hasn't done a lot in his career. Michael Carter-Williams, same thing. He's not known as a defender, not known as a shooter.
Brandon Knight hasn't played.
Brandon Knight hasn't played yet. Marquise Chris, another young player, and obviously Carmelo Anthony. That didn't work out. It seemed really short-sighted, and I get it. $15 million for Ariza is a lot.
Yeah, that's the one I don't understand. The other guys,
mid-level exception.
But the Trevor Ariza one to me, and look, he may be available again. Have the pieces potentially to move him, right? I mean, it's not like Phoenix is taking Brandon Knight back. You know, right?
They do need a point guard. Hold on. Phoenix, hold on.
Maybe. You're going to get on the phone with James Jones?
I can make it. I can bring these people together.
So, yeah, I just think that's the one.
Yeah, that's not going to work. I mean, they dropped the ball. That's it. The window, I think, for Houston Rockets is closed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, for a championship, I agree with Paul.
Okay.
Like, they had a chance, and they had to sustain that window open, and they...
Yes.
All right. Speaking of championships, Kobe calling the Warriors fans bandwagoners? Talking about championships for the Lakers? Well, we'll discuss that in just a moment. But first, a distant replay from 2002 featuring the Mamba.
It's called... No.
The Mamba.
Utah. Karolinko got it.
That's travel.
Wait, hold on.
Was that travel?
He walked?
Oh, no, that was either some crazy footwork.
Okay.
No, he did it.
That's no travel. That's good.
That's why he's one of the best.
When you show up to a holiday party with a great-tasting, less filling light beer, you might need to find